Welcome to GTO Charts. Super excited to be bringing you a latest update that you see in front of you now. It's 6 Max Tournament charts. Let me explain what you're looking at. And if you notice top left corner, we have a random number generator, which is either 30 second or 60 seconds, depending on what you feel like suits your style of play. We also have up here what the name of the charts are, 6 Max Tournament. Also added some information here that's going to be very useful. The number of big blinds that this is designed for, 100 big blinds. The fact that big blind ante is used, and we have a limping strategy from the small blind, which I'll show you later. It's down here. Also recommended, well, firstly, the raise first inside is 2.5 BB. You can see the 3-bet there is recommended 7.5 BB and 4-bet 25 BB. These colours all line up with these colours over here, and you'll see later in the charts when we go through them, they all designed to line up with the 4-betting, 3-betting. The colours up here line up with the colours here. Let's first start with the raise first ins. So we have a tab here with all the raise first ins. I've broken this up. They also appear in the position they're under as well. So for example, under the gun also has the raise first in here. Middle position has its raise first in here as well. But I thought it'd be also good to have them all in one place where you can just quickly look at the recommended raise first ins for the various positions. So this is the recommended raise first ins for the positions. Let's have a look at under the gun first, and it seems pretty standard-ish for a 6 Max tournament, 100 big blinds deep. The thing to note that's really exciting, you just might have seen there, is obviously where it's fully coloured, you raise first in 100%. Now where you see it, where it's not fully coloured, you can now mouse over and then it'll come up 27%. So if you're under the gun, up to you, you mouse over 27%. Our random number generator is at 50, you can see up there, so we wouldn't raise it. If it was King Jack off, 66%, yes, we would raise it. So if the number's between 1 and 66, which it is, it's 50, then raise it. That occurs everywhere. There is not fully coloured in, green, and for each position. Queen 6 suited, 46%, so on and so forth, all the way up to the button. Now, the small blind gets a little different. Also note down here, just a note to tell you if you mouse over, you get the exact opening ranges. That does not include the ones that are at 100%. Nothing comes up for them. That's self-explanatory. 6-3 suited, 40%. Now we move to the small blind, where, as we said before up here, we're going to employ a limping strategy in this particular group of charts. Going forward, we hope to have similar 100 big blind ante charts with a non-limping strategy. Stay tuned for those. Similar thing, you mouse over and you get a split. So ace king suited, it's a 35-65 split, meaning looking up at your color key up here, 35 open 35% of the time and limp 74% of the time. So if you look over at our RNG now, it's 38. So we would mouse over again. We would limp if we were playing a game ace-ace in this situation. So that's your raise first ends. Let's move now to the individual positions. let's start with, actually we're going to jump over under the gun, but all positions are covered. Under the gun, obviously, you raise first in. If you look at other positions like middle position, you have in the raise first in, you also have the possibility of the under the gun opening before. So in that instance, we have a 3-bet range. So again, let's just pretend you're playing a game. You are in middle position, under the gun opens, and you wake up with ace 10 suited. Actually, let's make it ace king suited just to make it a little bit easier. And as you can see, ace king suited is 3-bet 100% of the time. Now, the wonderful thing that now happens with these charts, you 3-bet your ace king suited, and now you're 4-bet by under the gun. So what should you do? Okay, well, let's mouse over, and lo and behold, chart changes colour. We can see ace king suited. We have an all-in about 75% of the time, and a call about the other 25%. Now, these do not have mouse over exact ranges because I couldn't get that to work with the fact that you mouse over and it shows the 4-bet range. So this is pretty cool, I think. New innovation we've sort of put out in the last few days. A really quick way to see what ranges should be playing. Similar things for, again, let's just stick to middle position. Again, note the middle position when he's facing 3-bets and all-ins. Let's stick with 3-bets first. When he's facing 3-bets, he can obviously be 3-bet from a lot of different positions, from the cutoff, from the button, from the small blind, and from the big blind. So also all those ranges are covered. And again, there's a little note down here, mouse over your chart when your 4-bet is shoved over all in. Okay, let's just do an example. We are in middle position, and we open. Again, let's stick with ace king suited. We open ace king suited, and we are 3-bet from, let's say, 3-bet from the small blind. Okay, so if we go up here, it looks like it's about a 50-50 split, and if I look at my RNG now, it's at 13. So in that instance, we will 4-bet. Okay, so we're going to 4-bet our ace king suited this time, and if we, what happens if we're shoved over all in? Well, it's mouse over, and it's pretty much going to be a call, obviously. The other thing to note is that was a little confusing in other charts, but I think that makes it a bit clearer in these, is the fact that it's only showing half. You're calling with half your ace king suited, but you are in fact calling with your entire ace king suited range. It's because you have only 4-bet 50%. The other 50% of the time you are flatting, so that's why that doesn't appear here. But the point is, you should be calling an all-in, a shove over the top with ace king suited. Hope that makes sense. Pretty much everything's similar all the way up to when we get to small blind, big blind, where things start to get a little bit different. So you're starting off with small blind, and so the small blind, when he raises first in and he's facing open, so the raise first in is what we've already talked about, and I've left these ranges here, the mouse over range split, so you can see it here also. Now, if you're facing opens from the small blind, this is the GTO range that's recommended. The pinky colour is 3-bet, and and the green is call, and the blue is fold. Again, there's a note down here, mouse over the chart when 4-bet. So we'll stick with our ace king suited again as an example. You're in the small blind, under the gun opens, you have ace king suited, and recommended to 3-bet 100% of the time. And if you 4-bet, then recommended to shove all in. Makes sense. And same goes for all the other positions. Again, these are all GTO approved strategies that we have run through solvers to get these. So moving on now to small blind versus big blind, which is again a little different scenario, especially when we are using a limping strategy. So there's two charts here, or two opening charts. They're both the same, however, the difference is when we mouse over this time, as we read down here, this is mouse over when your open is 3-bet by the big blind, and this one is when your limp is raised by the big blind. So this assumes you have raised, and this is what's recommended. For example, let's do ace king suited. We open raise it, which is only a very small percentage, and we're 3-bet by the big blind. The recommended thing is really to 4-bet. And the next chart is when you limp and your limp is raised. Again, mouse over, and recommended strategy 4-betting the orange, calling the green, folding the blue and the grey, which you have not really even opened. The grey or the white becomes grey, but you get the general idea. The other possibility is after you have 4-bet, the big blind shoves. So there's another chart here, shows you what to do in that instance, folding all these hands and calling with these. If we now move on to the big blind, so now you're in the big blind and you're facing the small blind. Again, we have ranges to take into account. When you're facing a raise from the various positions, the under the gun, the middle position, the cut off the button, and the small blind. Recommended 3-bet. Calling ranges, mouse over for if you are 4-bet, what to do then. And big blind versus small blind. What you need to take into consideration is if you are limped, if you are facing a limp from the small blind, use this chart, the second one, and if after you raise, when the small blind 3-bet your raise, mouse over, and recommended strategy here, call the green, 4-bet the orange, and shove over the top with the dark red. Very interesting to note, ace 4 suited is pretty much a shove 50% of the time. Queen jack suited, not aces and not ace king or kings, and queen I don't know, looks like 25%, all in 10%. You're gonna have to have a bit of a guess sometimes at these ranges. I'd say that's say 30% to 10% 4-bet, and call say 60%. Okay, I think that pretty much covers most of things. Any questions, feel free to contact us up here or put a comment in YouTube. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and talk to you soon.